It's the Relationship Unscripted Podcast with that dude, Coach Kenn. Let's get it.
Sex is overrated and overvalued in a relationship. That's right, I said it. And I'm going to say it again. Sex is overvalued and overrated in a relationship. I'm going to tell you about that, but first I'm going to tell you about the 7 phases of a relationship and why it's important to understand the statement that I made. If you understand the 7 phases of a relationship, you can make your relationship a lot more productive. Now, I didn't say 7 steps. I said 7 phases. And we're going to make certain that you know what each of these phases are so you can make your relationship more productive. Y'all ready? Let's talk about it.
Welcome to Relationship Unscripted. We're dropping truth bombs about the good, the not so good, and of course,
what the hell is wrong with your relationship?
you don't know what you don't know.
Or you may need to have several seats and get your life together.
Who does know? Well, we do. So let's talk about it. This is Relationship Unscripted with that dude, your host, Coach Kenn.
Yo, what's up, people? This is Relationship Unscripted. I'm Coach Kenn, and as you already know, I'm coming out the gate hot today. I'm coming right out the gate, right at you with my opening statement. Sex is overrated and overvalued in a relationship. Now, I'm going to make all of that make sense, and before I get into that, I'm going to make certain I preface it by saying this. Everything that I'm throwing out there for you today to consider is 100% from my coaching experience over the past 20 years. Now, before you come at me with, well, where's your statistics at for this? And what doctor told you this? And what PhD person told you this? This is my experience from the people that I have been coaching, and I'll say it again, over the past 20 years. What I've noticed, I've gone back and I looked at my notes, and I knew there was something there that could be edifying or to help you elevate your relationship. And so as I went back and started looking at my notes, I started to see a pattern with a lot of different couples. And so it was in understanding that pattern that I said, you know what, this is interesting. I think there's something there. And from that and studying the notes and studying the different things that I was covering with people in my coaching sessions, I developed the 7 phases of a relationship. Now, I did not say steps. Now, the difference between steps and phases, so we know, is that steps are something you follow to get to an end result. So, let's say you were baking a cake, and if you follow step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, you're going to come out with this great pound cake. That's what should happen at the end. Phases are different. Phases are things or situations or conditions or energies, if you would, that your relationship is going to go through, and then based upon where it is in that phase denotes how you need to move. If you understand what phase your relationship is in, you can now make a more on-task decision to do what you need to do. Most relationships are not successful because they don't understand the phase that they're in, or they move to the next phase before they even understand what they're supposed to be doing. So in other words, it's 7 phases. You can't jump from phase 1 to phase 7. You can't go from phase 6 back to phase 1. You can't go from 2 and just skip 3 and 4. All relationships flow into this same phase pattern. And if you understand the phases, you can understand how to better strengthen, develop, and elevate your relationship. And we're ready to talk about it right here.
Ain't no lies being told here today. It's Relationship Unscripted with that dude, Coach Kenn.
All right, so as I already told you, there are 7 phases. I'm going to break this out into 5 podcasts. On the first podcast, this one that you're listening to, I'm going to give you the basic principle And then I'm going to give you the first two phases that your relationship will always move itself into. Now, the first thing we need to understand, first and foremost, is there are 3 rules to dating. There are 3 rules to dating, 3 basic rules, I should say. Now, if you keep these 3 basic rules, you'll be able to move through phases 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 without issue. The reason you won't run through 6 and 7 is because when you start to get to 6 and 7, these start to phase themselves out. So if you move through 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 appropriately and with some level of mastery, then when you get to stages or phases 6 or 7, these primary rules will start to phase themselves out. All right. Now, here is the primary rule of dating that I give to everybody that I'm coaching. Here are the 3 rules. Now, what I want you to understand is I'm going to explain all 3 of these to you, and they're important that you get these because as you are moving through the different phases, I'm going to explain to you how these 3 work within the phase that you are in. So, the 3 rules that you have to keep in mind while you're dating are: be present, be conscious, don't get caught up. 3 simple rules. Be present, be conscious, don't get caught up. Let me explain all 3 of those. Now, when you hear me say be present, that simply means if you are just meeting someone, all you need to be present in understanding is that I'm enjoying the particular conversation that I'm involved in with this person. I'm enjoying the interaction I have going on with this person. That's it. That's being present. When you are conscious, you understand what it is. It's just a conversation. It's just a movie. It's just drinks. It's just some light banter. That's all it is. And if you can keep 1 and 2 to the forefront of your brain, you won't break rule number 3, which is don't get caught up. Now, you got to remember these 3 rules. Be present, be conscious, don't get caught up, because they are going to play out from this particular podcast and for the next 3 podcasts. Now, every time that I give you another phase, I'm going to tell you how these 3 rules are going to apply when you're in that phase. Now, the end goal is to make sure that you are in a space where you're in a productive and healthy relationship. And all these phases will do is to help you more to surface that, so you know what you're getting into and you can make some on-task decisions as to if you really want to do it. Nobody has time to be in failed relationship number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Nobody has time for that. So if I can help you be in a more productive relationship, that's why I'm here. That's why I'm your guy. That's why I'm that dude, Coach Kenn, because I am going to help you today. Now, the 3 rules: be present, be conscious, don't get caught up. So, with that said, let's jump right into phase 1. Phase 1 of any relationship is going to be what I call the initial meeting. Now, the initial meeting, hello, hi, my name is, how are you, what's your name, what's your number, all that sort of stuff is happening in that very first phase. In that very first phase, there could be potentially a lot of giggling, some teeth showing because people are doing a lot of grinning, some light banter, people coming out with some lyrics and some lines, because that initial meeting, you have to make yourself seem like you're somewhat interesting because you have seen somebody that you're interested in. So most people will muster up or bring forth the best energy they can in the initial meeting. They are on their best behavior in this initial meeting, and this is why those 3 rules apply. If I'm present, I understand that I'm just enjoying the conversation with somebody I met wherever or I was introduced to. So I'm present in that regard. If I'm being conscious, I understand it's just conversation. It's just banter. Something may come of it. Something may not come of it. But that third rule is I'm not going to get caught up because I'm present and I'm conscious. I know what this is, so I'm not going to get caught up. So in that initial meeting or that initial phase is when you start hearing questions such as, can we grab a drink sometime? How can I get in touch with you outside of here? Are you here with anybody? It's somebody trying to see if a connection can be made in that initial meeting. So from there, let's just say all goes well. You like them, they like you, everything is good. You exchange information. We now move into phase 2. Phase 2, the discovery phase. Now, you've exchanged information, and now the discovery phase is you are now trying to find out exactly who this person is, who they represent themselves to be. Who are you? If what you saw them as, is it correct? In most cases, you are looking to see what their social media presence is and what does it look like. Now, again, this is a part that a lot of people won't admit, but a lot of people do it. They want to go out there and see what that social media presence looks like. Now, this is very important because based upon how that social media presence looks, since you don't know a lot about them, is going to give you some level of indication of how you need to move. For example, if you look at their Instagram page and you see that they have taken a lot of pictures with females, or that females are plentiful on their particular page where they're liking a lot of pictures, for one person that might be a turnoff for them. In the same aspect, if you see them on their Instagram page and they're taking pictures with their kids and they seem like they're very homebody, very fatherly, or like that might be something that's a positive for you. So again, it all depends on what that social media presence looks like. One of the challenges is that what you see on social media, if you don't have any background for it, then you could be creating a false narrative based upon what you're seeing on their social media presence. So this discovery period is important. The other thing is, if you know somebody that might know them, now you're asking questions about this other person. And depending on what energy that person is in that you're asking, they may or may not give you the straight scoop. They may give you some nonsense just because they are hating on, don't like, never liked, or really don't know. So you can't take it as 100%, as they say, the gospel, but you can also you have to just be very careful when you're getting information from other people as it pertains to the discovery phase. Now, the last thing I'll say about the discovery phase and why it's important is because we've already exchanged information from our initial meeting. We've already said that sometimes we're going to be able to go out. We'll at some point be able to go out and get a drink, and we've exchanged information. So this person is going to get in touch with you at some point, or you're going to reach out to get in touch with the other person at some point. But for this, let's say they are reaching out to you to see what's up with you, and they want to know if y'all can get together and go do drinks. Depending on what you find out in the discovery phase really puts you in what type of energy you're going to be in to go get these drinks. If you've looked at all of their social media information and you didn't see nothing that was a white, blue, or red flag, anything that kind of rubbed you the wrong way, nothing that looked dicey, you're going to feel a little bit better about going to get these drinks. But if you saw something on a social media page that was a little bit dicey, that rubbed you a little bit the wrong way, or you got some information from a friend that wasn't exactly what you wanted to hear, wasn't really favorable, you're going to be a little bit hesitant to go get these drinks. In most cases, people are still going to go get these drinks because why? People are nosy. And so therefore, in most cases, they're going to go get these drinks just so they can be able to say, let me see what's happening with this person. Let me see if they are who I think they are. So again, when we're in that initial meeting, which is phase 1, we're in that discovery, which is the second phase, phase 2, people are always on their best behavior. And so this is why we got to keep those 3 rules in play. Again, be present, be conscious, don't get caught up. So if they're asking you out for drinks, then it's just drinks. It's just, I'm present. It's just conversation. I'm going to enjoy the conversation. I'm going to enjoy the place we're going to go. I'm present. I'm going to be conscious to understand it's just drinks, and I'm not going to get caught up. Now, in the discovery phase, we get easily caught up because if we have a really nice time, we have the opportunity to go tell somebody, girl, we had so much fun. I've never laughed so hard in my life. And I think I met my next baby daddy. Or I think I met my husband. Or I think I met my wife, and I love the way she smiled, and I love the way she did this, and she was so attentive when we were out on our date for drinks and all of that. I think I have met my next, and let me just be clear. You have not met your next one. You don't know anything about her. She doesn't know anything about you, and you are in no position to be able to say, I met my next anything. Now, hopefully y'all can have a next date, but again, when you start to get caught up, because now you're breaking rule 3, that's when you start to have those conversations in your head. You start getting a little bit ahead of yourself, and when we get ahead of ourselves, we get ahead of the phases, and that's how we start making questionable decisions. So, in that, let me be clear. I'm not trying to shoot down any level of fun. I'm not trying to shoot down any level of enthusiasm. Go out. Have a great time. If this is a great person you're going out with, then wonderful. I'm all for that. But I'm also about keeping it realistic. Now, it could be very simply, this is also that phase where if you're not keeping our 3 rules in play, you will wonder why the 3rd rule doesn't play in your favor. The 3rd rule is going to be the basic agreement for connection. Now, if we don't get past the discovery phase, the basic agreement of connection, you'll never get to that place. What's the basic agreement of connection? You'll have to wait till the 3rd podcast to find out. Nah, I take that back. Let's put it on the next podcast, and we're going to go straight to it. The basic agreement of connection. So again, the 7 phases of a relationship with Coach Kenn. Phase 1, the initial meeting. Phase 2, the discovery. Next podcast, the basic agreement of connection.
You can't make this stuff up. It's the Relationship Unscripted podcast with Coach Kenn.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review. To catch all the latest from Relationship Unscripted, you can follow us on Instagram. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.